Hello, and welcome to this Youth Issues program. My name is Anna, and joining me is my friend Sam. As young people, we face many challenges, and our goal is to talk about these challenges and to provide solutions for them. For the next few minutes, we will be talking about sex. And Sam is a Brazilian, and he is a youth pastor here in London. So Sam, tell me, what makes you an authority on the subject of sex?
I am Brazilian. Doesn't that count?
It counts a little, yes.
It's a theme that I've been interested in, read about over the last few years. It's a very important theme to what it means to be human. Sexuality is hugely important. So I have dedicated some thoughts to it over the last few years.
Well, I'm glad you're saying that because sex is usually a taboo subject. We avoid talking about it. But the best way we can address it is to talk openly about it. And I think we're going to do just that.
Right.
So let's get straight to it.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about
Go.
sex. Okay, what's this thing about waiting before marriage to have sex?
Yeah, that would be better for you.
Why?
Because it should. Do as I say. There are multiple reasons why it would be very beneficial for a person to wait. One is that sex is too powerful. People underestimate just how powerful sex is. There is a profound spiritual dimension to sex that has to be explored. You have a soul. You're not just a physical body of cells that produces some hormones here, some hormones there. An orgasm is something that transcends the bodily fluids that go through. It's something that at least should be. And so if you experience that sort of connection with various people, if you explore your sexuality with various people, there will be implications to your life. They mess it up in many different ways and they pay the consequences later.
Okay. Say I do wait until my wedding night to have sex with my husband. Because I've waited, as a reward, am I going to have this magical, incredible experience?
I can hear the bells, ding, 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 and then they go. And then, well, let's talk about that. No, not necessarily. If your husband if your chosen man is terrible, if he's a bad man, if he's not going to respect you, if he's not going to love you, if he's not going to explore your sexuality in a great way, no, you're going to have a terrible night. And so it's a bad thing. And no, it's not going to be a magical experience. So let's look at some other thoughts on this. In ancient Judaism, when two people got married, let's say these two glasses here.
Okay,
they got married. There would be something on top of them called a huppah, a cloth. And that represented the Shekinah of God, the presence of God.
Okay.
Now, they would exchange their vows. Oh, I promise you, and so on. Then, the friends that were holding the huppah, this cloth thing, they would take that to their room. And they would put that huppah on top of their bed. Mm-hmm. Now, they would be on their bed. That the presence of God would be on top of their bed.
Okay.
Right, the very presence of the Almighty God of the universe would be on top of their bed. And from a very logistical perspective, during their exploration of sex, hopefully for the first time, as they discovered intimacy and they took their clothes off and they explored it for the first time, logistically, one of them would be looking at God at any given time. They were not scared of God and sex in the same room. In fact, they honored it, they cherished it. They invited God to be part of it. Mm-hmm. And therefore, that would be their first encounter. Because when you have a first encounter, God created us so that your first encounter imprints in your mind stronger than anything else that you've ever experienced.
Okay.
Now, this is different for men and women. For men, especially, wherever he experienced sex for the first time, wherever, I mean the physical locality, how it happened, the environment where it happened, with whom it happened, and so on, that is imprinted to a point that this is the most stimulating, most exciting experience he will have in the future. So if his first sexual experience was in the back of a car, he will always be more stimulated in the back of a car than anywhere else. If it was in a hotel room, if it was in the back of a club, if it was anywhere in particular, that's going to be the most stimulating experience ever. Now, can you imagine being married to a guy that had his first experience, I don't know, in the back of a car, and suddenly you're there as a woman, and I don't know, you've been married for 20 years, and suddenly you come to him and you are in the same suit that God gave you when you were born, but he's not excited by you. Suddenly, he is most stimulated by his first imprint, which was in the back of a car. So when you do get to the back of a car, he's all horny and let's do this. Why? Because that was his first imprint. Would you not have rather been with a guy that was with you for the first time and had you been imprinted in his mind and vice versa?
Okay, I see what you're saying, but I have a problem with it. Because What if you're really disappointed by your first experience and then you're already married? It's not like you're going to divorce the guy because he's bad in bed.
Right. Now, this is probably the worst thing our culture has developed. They have this idea that it's always going to be spontaneous. It's always going to be, suddenly it happens. Rubbish. It won't just suddenly happen. It starts with one guy saying, I could do with sex. And then the guy goes for it and he starts, how am I going to do it? And it takes about 48 hours for him to prepare the woman and do everything that he needs to do for her to open up like a flower and give it to him really good and for them to have a wonderful experience. It doesn't just happen. And every 48 hours, a man receives an injection of testosterone. The thing that men need out of a relationship is sex. So when you get married, remember that. Don't ever forget that. If all we wanted was a connection and what else? And friendship and loyalty, companionship, we would get a Labrador. Right?
Okay.
What we really want is sex. Now, what a woman wants is different. And if people are interested in this, there's a guy called Mark Gungor, Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage. He is amazing, and this content is there. It is incredible. But going back to our original subject, you can mess up with sex very easily. Very easily. But just don't. Just get married, explore in him or her, depending on, you know what I mean. and have fun, because it's great. Can I just say something else?
Please.
Right. We're getting married way too late these days.
Okay.
Now, in the history of humanity, this is very recent. It's only in the last 50 years that we started not getting married as teenagers. Before then, most people got married as teenagers. But then, no, we need to have a job. We need to have education. We need to, have a stable job. You just finished university, right?
Yes.
Are you officially unemployed now?
Yes.
Exactly. We are going through a process of academic inflation. If you needed a BA to have a job, now you need a master's. If you needed a master's, now you need a PhD.
Yeah.
You will not stop studying until you're 30. Okay?
Yeah, probably I won't.
Right. And you will have to work in the process and study in the process. Are you going to prioritize your family or not?
My family like my parents or my family like...
Your family like your children. Do you want to have children?
Yes.
Are you going to leave your children at home with a nanny all their lives whilst you work 16 hours a day?
I would prefer not to.
Right. Then you can't carry on doing that now. You need to reconcile your study, your work, and your family from now. You can't wait until you get there to do it, because the there has just been pushed more and more and more. I am tired of meeting beautiful young professionals that are not so young anymore. They're 27, they're 30 years old, and they really want to get married. They're ready to get married. But then it's very difficult. Very difficult to find people, because at work, most people are either married or in relationships. There is no more time. There is no more environments to find the one. It's just much more difficult. So, get married early. I got married when I was 21, and I regret it. I should have got married when I was 19, right?
Okay.
I was told that I should wait, and I waited. I shouldn't have. I should have gotten married early. So in other words, sex, yes, wait till you get married, but please don't wait till you're 30 to get married. Get married when you're 20, 21, 22. Why wait? Now, this is a message to the men.
Okay.
Because to me, after you're 16, you're not a boy anymore, you're a man. Did you hear me? You're not a boy anymore, despite how your parents may treat you. If you're 16 and up, you're a man. Now, this means that they should start thinking of their future. What job are they going to have? Concurrent with their studies. How are they going to start a family? Now, this generation annoys me a great deal, as you can probably tell, because they have this sense of entitlement. They have this sense that I'm going to live, my first house is going to be just as good as my father's. I'm going to work and I'm going to get paid. No, you are going to work a lot. You may not get paid. You're going to go through apprenticeships, and you're going to go through a very great deal of hard work until you start getting paid properly. Your first house will not be like your father's. It will be in a little small flat that you can hardly fit your television in, which will not be a 46-inch LED curved LG TV. No, it will be a small little thing if you can afford it. You have to start small. This generation wants to start as if they're rich already. What's wrong with them? No, you start small and you build up. It's going to be hard work. That's the message. But a 16-year-old should be thinking of that hard work, should be embracing it. And by the time they're 20, they should be out. A 20-year-old man should already be out of the house thinking of getting married in the next couple of years and meeting somebody still in their teenage years to get married. Most beautiful reason for that, if he waits until he's independent and waits until she's independent, then those two trees have grown up already. They're hardened. You're going to bring those two trees together. If they're going to adapt to each other, lots of branches are going to break. Mm-hmm. And those branches break and it hurts. And I've seen the pain, and it's not pretty. Now, some branches will have to break anyway when you're 20 or 21, but they're soft. They're adaptable. It's easier. So, wait till you get married, but don't wait to get married. I like that. I should tweet that. I'm going to tweet that. Good.
Okay.
Oh, I got that off my chest. Thank you.
Well, you said that our generation annoys you, so on behalf of my generation, I would like to apologize.
That's all right.
For that.
That's all right.
You've put a lot of emphasis on actually getting married, but these days there's a lot of people who just move in together and they don't ever get married, and they have kids and they grow old together and everything is fine. So why should I even get married to have sex?
You're absolutely right. If you want to just move in with somebody, to God, that is marriage, and if you honor that, that's great. Now, the key question isn't, what can I get away with? The key question is, how can I get the best out of life? Wouldn't you want to have the person that you've chosen to be with? Wouldn't you want his family and your friends and his friends and all the people that you care about coming together to celebrate and to say publicly, we honor your relationship. We want you to be together. Now, people that have gone through this process of a marriage ceremony, it is magical. It is something that is spiritually amazing to go through this, to be in the same space as the people that you care about, all of them, saying to you, we want to bless you. We want, even if they're not religious, at this point it doesn't matter if you're religious or not. It's the people that you love saying, we want to honor you. And I'm sweltering here.
It's a hot topic.
I like what you did there. Oh, very good. So we want to wish you, all the good things in life. And we agree with this. Because the truth is, for two people to come together, there's a lot of stuff that will go wrong. And they will not always agree on everything. And family and friends will need to be there. So let them be there where it matters most, when they came together. That's one of the reasons. Now, if they do believe in God, then it's beautiful to have that coming together to say, well, God, we want your blessing here. And they promise each other some pretty solemn things that day that they will honor and cherish and so on. And as a minister, I get first-hand view of that experience. They repeat after me, and it's a very interesting, very profound experience. I did a wedding just a couple of weeks ago, and you could see it, you could sense it, the raw emotion, the raw dedication and things that go through it. It is not just let's just get this over and done with. No, it's not. It is serious, and it's important. And there's also the business element of it. Now, this is less so because most governments agree that if you move in together to build a family together, whether you got married officially or not, you will be treated as such.
Okay.
So, from a partnership perspective, there are many business elements to getting married. So, and many benefits too, tax-wise. So I suggest get married.
You just mentioned benefits, and I just got a thought. In media today, and a lot of movies, this whole friends with benefits thing is a big issue right now. What do you think about it?
Selfishness, that's what I think about it. How can I use people that are around me and still call them friends? Yeah, I have a need, I have a desire. Your body can fulfill that desire. I'm going to use you as an object. And I don't mind, I can be used by you. And in the end, we're both objects, and we can be discarded as such, and we go back to being friends.
Yeah, but in the movies, it's not like that. They seem pretty happy.
Funny, in the movies, how does the movie end? Every movie ends like this. Have you watched those movies?
They get together.
They get married. That's what happens. So, yeah, bring on the movies. I think movies that are friends with benefits and all those movies, they're made by people that believe in marriage more than anything else. So. And they're made for people to believe in marriage, not the other way around.
Well, then they all have sex before marriage, and they have this great connection. So, I don't know. I'm still not convinced. I don't know.
It's great, isn't it? The camera ends, the music, they sail into the sunset. I want to see that couple later.
Okay.
I want the movie to continue. And it's not about what can I get away with? I'm going to say this again. It's not about what can I get away with. It's about how can I get the most out of. That's the real thing.
Okay. I want to talk about porn. Is it good? Is it bad? What is it all about?
You train our body for the wrong thing. And our bodies are trainable. Any Olympics will tell you that. So if you train your body to do something, to respond to something, it will. If you do it long enough, it will. So take a teenager, for example. And unfortunately, it's quite sad that this happens, and it happens very often. Teenager explores pornography. Okay, the ones that we're dealing with today in a magazine at the time. Then they started helping themselves. Okay, and they got addicted to it. First once, then twice, then three, then sometimes 5 times a day. Any and every excuse. Usually boys, they're more into it than girls. Though that's changing. So then he thought, when I get married, I'm going to get constant access to a woman. I'm not going to need this anymore. Remember, men get married for sex. Have no other thoughts. That's the reason. So then he got married. And guess what happened? Do you think he stopped? He didn't. Because his wife is not an object. She has her free will. Unless he conquista. Now, this is where Portuguese is beautiful. Somebody help me. Conquista.
Conquer?
Unless it comes from conquers, but unless he seduces the girl.
Okay.
Okay, unless he seduces the girl, she's not going to give it to him. It's as simple as that. Now, here is the question. If he spent 10 years of his life having a desire, I want sex, going to a bathroom or his room or online and so on, and helping himself to it, and in less than 2-3 minutes, it's done. That has been his experience for 10 years. Now he has a wife or a girl that is his. He has a desire. Do you think he'll have the patience to seduce the girl?
If he's in love with her, maybe.
But it's not about love, because she doesn't want it. What does he want?
He wants sex.
He can get sex in 5 minutes. He just has a shower. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
He becomes imprinted in him is the idea, I want sex, I can get it just like that by myself. Why would I take 48 hours? I am married. I know it takes at least 24 to 48 hours to seduce the girl properly. Why would I do that if I can get a quick fix? And so married couples, that's the trap they get into. Men just stay up late, they visit some websites, they get a quick fix, they go back to bed. And that's it. Now, think about pornography is that it's not about the sex, it's about connection. What the man really wants is connection. It's not the sex. So he wants connection. He should be putting himself up to connect with the girl. And when she realizes they are connected and he loves her, then she opens up to him, literally everything. And then he is beautiful, right? And then he experiences this profound connection with the girl, and it's wonderful. Now, he doesn't do that. He chooses the selfish route of seeing another woman as an object to himself, or 2 or 3 or 4 together, because it gets really weird after a while, and you need to increase the power of the porn that you're watching. Then that becomes exciting. And what's happening is that 40-year-old men and above, 50 and so on, they no longer get excited with their wives. Now she comes to him and she's all naked in front of him, and he doesn't. Why doesn't he get excited with her? Because he trained his body to be excited with his hand and with the videos that he's watched online. Now, isn't that sad? How would you feel as a wife?
Yeah, I wouldn't feel good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now imagine if the only way to get your husband up would be to open a laptop next to him, next to you, so you can watch some videos together, then he would be excited enough to make love to you. And do you think he would wait until you got to the point of orgasm? No, because he's selfish. He's been selfish since he was a teenager. How is he going to wait now? Now, you as a woman, you need an average of 11 minutes of sex to have an orgasm. Men need an average of 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 11 minutes. You need a lot of love for the guy to wait for you. And he won't have that because he's just used to a quick fix. Now, this is where pornography is incredibly destructive. Not to mention the industry itself and the damage it causes to the people that choose to be part of it. I'm not even going there. I'm talking about the consumers. Now, what happens if you have a viewer who is addicted? I'll tell you a secret.
Go for it.
Most men, like 99% of men, are addicted to pornography. How do you free yourself from this addiction? First thing is, if you're religious, putting a picture of Jesus in your room does not help.
Are you sure about that?
It does not help because it just creates guilt. And guilt never changes anybody. It doesn't matter how much you believe in hell or heaven, that will not help you change. It won't. Do you want to hear a quick way?
Get a dog, like you said earlier?
No, don't get a dog. That won't help. Here is the best way to overcome this.
Okay.
And you never overcome it completely. It's like alcoholic. You know, you're alcoholic all your
Yes.
life, but you haven't drunk in 30 years. You find a humanitarian project where every week you meet people that are suffering and you alleviate their suffering. And when you get to do that, you connect with them. And it is this connection to other people, real people, if you do it constantly, you will realize that you have less and less desire to go back to the websites, to go back to your selfish ways of alleviating your own desires. It is the only way I've seen that you can stop. Otherwise, forget it. You won't. Or you won't. So discover, I don't know, some soup run, some, feeding the homeless, some project that you can help yourself. Whether you're religious or not is completely irrelevant. That's the only way that you can experience the most out of life.
What about, there's many people who discover porn as children, and they think it's okay because maybe it's on mom's or dad's laptop, and they think it's okay because mom and dad have it on their laptop. And they don't have the same control, or they don't have the same knowledge to have self-control towards those kind of things.
Define children. What age are you talking about?
10, 11.
Okay, so pre-puberty, but
Yes.
still children.
Yeah.
Now, if it's very young children, so 6 and under, parents, older brothers and sisters, please, for the love of God, do not allow children under 6, or any children for that matter, but especially, to have any encounter with pornography. It is profoundly disturbing. Some children stop talking. Some children have great mess that takes years to heal, and it is very disturbing on a mental level. 10, 11-year-olds, curiosity takes the best of them, and they want to experience it, even if their bodies are not ready for it. Now, with the amount of hormones we eat on our normal diet, puberty has been younger and younger. So let me be clear on this. Food is no longer our factories. We have food factories, right? So if it would take normally so many months for a cow to be raised or for a chicken to be raised, now it's a fraction of the time. Why? Because they pump them up with hormones. Now, those hormones are usually female hormones, and they're usually growth hormones. So that has implications, especially for girls. They're experiencing puberty much earlier in life. So if you used to be 14, then it was 13, then 12, then 11, and some girls are now 10. And there are some examples of 9-year-old girls who are experiencing puberty. Now, this will not stop, I'm afraid, unless we change our diet. So the more meat, especially chicken, we feed our girls, the worse. The problem is we're also feeding our boys with female hormones, and that has implications too. But anyway, the boys will experience early puberty too. So sometimes 11 years old, their bodies can react to it and can set off an early reaction to pornography. It is bad nonetheless, but most of the time it will just be curiosity. They'll just be playing it and playing it and playing it. The worst thing, however, is that they will now see human beings as sexual objects. That is the worst part. And when you are with a real person, if you do see that, that's a problem.
Can you just give us a general conclusion? What is the message that you want to really highlight after talking about sex?
Sex is amazing. It is the most beautiful gift that God has given us. And He created us as man, as woman, in order for us to experience it. And we can experience it to the full, or we can mess it up. It's our choice. And I hope that people that are listening can experience it to the full.
Well, Sam, thank you very much for joining me. And I thank you for joining us. We have been discussing about sex. And if you have any questions or want to know more, please contact us or share your story at lifeconnect.info. And I leave you with this thought: live healthy, grow wise, and enjoy your youth.